backed by popular demand, the interview between Mbuyiseni Ndlozi and Floyd Mayweather Shivambu, that's his nickname by the way, that was very interesting. We did part 1 and you guys asked for part 2. Well, in part 2, I want to cover the topic of land. Floyd Shivambu speaks about it in length and depth, so I like what he's saying there. And also inequality when it comes to the society of South Africa. This is a very educational interview. We are learning a lot from what the EFF actually what they meant about the programs in their manifesto. So they're breaking it down. So let's do that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, King 053, Mr. Easy Imali Enengeneng. And we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're doing part 2 of the interview between Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, who was interviewing the Deputy President of the EFF, Floyd Mayweather Shivambu. Guys, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I don't hear a lot of EFF members, especially in the top 6, the top 7 of the EFF, speaking about land. It's only Julius Malema that I hear a lot of times, and you guys have heard me break down what he says and so many times. And now we are hearing Floyd Shivambu actually speak about the land issue. So I'm very interested to hear what he says and how he puts this perspective of state-owned land and everything. But anyway, let's listen quickly to what Floyd Shivambu said.
And that is the reflection of a failed land reform program that got to not give land to our people in the period since 1994. So there's been dismal failure. It's 30 years now since the first inclusive elections in South Africa, but still less than 10% of agricultural and arable land that has been given to our people. And then that is one diagnostic that we can give in terms of the land situation, that this government has dismally failed to give land to our people and to empower our people to participate much more meaningfully in agriculture.
Now we know, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to CODESA, the negotiation of the land was there and it was to be transferred from the minority to the majority slowly, piece by piece, percentage by percentage. And we know in 1996, there was that green paper, and it says, listen, by the year 2000, we would have transferred back the land, about 30% of the land, and then it moved to 2008, then it moved to 2014, like Floyd has described there, and the ANC totally failed. I mean, I think in the last 30 years, something like 3% was transferred. Don't quote me on that one. But something in those regions of a percentage less than 5% that was transferred back into the state hands and back into the African population. So for me, it breaks my heart, man, when we speak about the land and people don't understand actually what land is. Listen to what Floyd says about, if you look at the companies, or let me rather say the farms that supply security, food security to our country, 95% of them are white owned. Do you guys understand what we are saying? If white Afrikaner people are owning 95% of the food security of our country, just imagine what will happen if they decide they're stopping. 90% of them supply the top supermarkets that you guys want to buy from. Checkers, Pep Store, owned by them again, owned by them, okay, ShopRite, Pick and Pay, owned by some few families. You understand what I'm saying? So if you as a black person, you don't want land, you don't understand the amount of impact you will have when your enemy decides they don't want to help you anymore. Because there's two fights when it comes to that. After we get the farms, ladies and gentlemen, our farmers, our black farmers, are still going to struggle to penetrate the market, because those shops will simply not buy from a black farmer. Do you guys understand what I'm saying to you? They will simply not buy for a black farmer. You can start your own energy drink. You will struggle to have that energy drink into the shelves of Pep. Why get a Pep hunt? Pick and Pay, ShopRite, Checkers, okay, and you will struggle to get your black 100% black owned product into those shelves. Start your own Zimba chips. Sell potatoes. They will not support you. They are supporting the white farmers. They are supporting each other. This is why land is important, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why people don't get it. Just imagine the government gives you a farm, you've got cows, and you are milking them, you are making a lot of milk, and then the next thing, you don't have a market for that for that milk, because the supermarkets don't want to buy from a black-owned person. They are discriminating against you, or they are putting their own price that is killing your profit margins. What are you going to do as a black person? Because it's not only that we are trying to fix as a black population. We are trying to also say we need black-owned supermarkets to revive the township economy that has died and has been hijacked by foreigners, our Pakistani brothers, our Somalian brothers, our Indian and Sri Lanka brothers. They are here in South Africa. They've got shops every street, killing the township economy. And on top of killing the township economy, you still have ShopRite and Pick and Pay and opening the mega supermarkets in the township. So as an African person, trying to compete against that is just impossible. It's an impossible ask. Mbuyiseni speaks up, ask a question about the level of inequality in our country. When are we going to fix this? Let's listen to what Floyd Shivambu.
The second issue that we must make diagnosis on is the levels of inequality. So, the post-1994 government outdid apartheid in terms of the levels of inequality.
Yeah.
Like we are the most unequal society in the world.
More than we were under apartheid.
More than we were under apartheid. I mean, under apartheid, the dispossession and the poverty of black people was legislated. It was law which prevented black people from owning the land, from owning certain business activities, from economically uplifting themselves.
From even applying for certain jobs.
Yes, from even applying for certain jobs. Yes, there were job reservation policies. But this post-1994 government outdid apartheid in terms of the levels of inequality, and the inequality are still racialized. Meaning that actually apartheid just got to be worsened under the so-called democracy in South Africa. So the economic apartheid is still a lived reality, and it's actually getting deeper and much more intense.
Ladies and gentlemen, apartheid is a system. Apartheid is not the white people or the Boers as we know them. Apartheid is a system. A white person can put a system that even when he's not present, the system continues to work. That is what we saw even post-1994. That the system is still there. Discrimination against African people is still there. In the workplace, what do you call that website that published? It published just now in February, in March actually, the amount of I think the chartered accountants in South Africa that have passed, the CAs that have passed, and about 60% of them is white. How is that possible? How is that possible? What do you guys call that organization? CAS, whatever. I don't know. I'll try to get it and put it here. So the discrimination continues, and and Floyd says, listen, our government actually is not in control. We can't blame the government because they are not in control. But Mbuyiseni Ndlozi kicks back and push back and say, oh man, let me give you a pushback. How can you say these people they are not in control where they are running the administration of our country? Listen to what Mbuyiseni Ndlozi said.
Let me just push you a little bit on that statement. I find that it's the most unconvincing argument. When people say there's just no break between apartheid and post 1994.
Yes.
And even now you're saying economic apartheid.
It's persisting.
Yeah, but isn't it that we are leaving, like we're not taking the people who have been running the country, we're giving them a free pass.
Yes.
Because when you control the state, you control economic resources.
Yes.
The example in question is, and that budget, which is passed every February, of over R1 trillion now. It's been over R1 trillion for some time.
Yeah, it's almost.
It's in the hands of a black government.
Yes.
That's an economic resource.
Yes.
But also it includes municipalities that generate revenue on their own.
Yes.
As well as state-owned companies, institutions, economic institutions that have been in the hands of this government since 1994. Actually, if the GDP of South Africa is 4 trillion rands,
yes,
about 2 trillion of that is in the hands of the state.
No, look,
what is when you say
so
these people don't have economic power?
So the measure of economic benefits, it's what absolutely accrues to the individual. Mm-hmm. What do the individuals get to gain afterwards? That is why even when you use this thing they call Gini coefficient of measuring the inequalities, they measure the assets and wealth that accrues to individuals. And then they say that the top 1% in South Africa is richer than 26 million people. Not even the 1%. 3 human beings.
Yes. Or 3 families.
Yeah, 3 families are richer than 26 million human beings in South Africa. And in terms of the strategic sectors of the economy, like in the natural resources sector, in the retail chain stores, in the financial services sector, the control still reflects what apartheid was. There's never been any significant shift since 1994. So that is what still obtains in South Africa and contributes significantly to the inequality that is definitive of our situation. And then, of course, it happens in a way that leads to joblessness. That is another diagnostic that we have to deal with now, yes.
You see, so Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is asking a question that a typical person asks in the street that they don't understand. If our government is indeed in control of, guys, 4 trillion each year, 4 trillion, why is it that the township economy is not transforming? Why is it inequality is not being fought? Why is it that we can't fight crime? Why is it? It's because Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, our people are just administrators. They actually don't control the state. 3 to 4 families control the state. And people find it hard to believe because, there's mayors, there's councillors, those people don't make the major decisions. They don't make the major decisions. Even though the government has got state-owned companies that can generate its own revenue, you've got municipalities through the municipal rates that can generate its own revenue, it's still controlled by the minority. And that is very heartbreaking to admit as Africans that 30 years later, we look like we are in charge, but we are not in charge. I mean, just go on the comment section and if you think that the ANC is actually in charge. And Floyd Shivambu then breaks it down better than I could ever say it, in terms of we are just administrators. Because Mbuyiseni is asking a relevant question. Are we going to give them an scapegoat? Why can't we blame this government and stop blaming this apartheid? Because now apartheid is like a human is not there. No, apartheid is a system. Listen to what Floyd Shivambu says.
No, I get it. It seems to me that it's not enough to simply say, in terms of those measures, Gini coefficient, ownership, and all of that, the situation hasn't changed. We need to take it a step further that it has not changed by choice this time.
Yeah, it's
like people called a democratic black majority government control almost 2 trillion rands of the money, and how come
it's
the situation is not changing?
Yeah, it can say it's by choice, but also can give it a classical interpretation as well. That it's just an administration that is being a committee that manages the common affairs of the dominant capitalist class. That the very fact that a transition happened under a capitalist neoliberal framework, there was no role that a government post-1994 was going to have a significant say as to just what happens with the allocation of resources outside of the dictates, one, of domestic capital, 2, of international capital, 3, of multinational institutions such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. So you've got a puppet government which inherited political power or took over political power under whatever circumstances, under a neoliberal and capitalist environment. And they've got puppet masters, which primarily it's domestic capital, which the capitalist domestically will say, do this, do that. This is how we must manage your monetary and fiscal policy. And then you've got interest of global capitalism. And then you've got interest of the international financial institutions. Primarily the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. And those, by the way, they give direct instructions as to just what must happen on economic policy planning, on energy policy, on virtually everything else that the government does. So we really do not have an autonomous government that is able to perform its own functions outside of the dictates of global and domestic capitalism.
Ladies and gentlemen, as long as your funding comes from your colonizers, forget about being in control of the state. Forget. It's not going to work. And I think, I don't know, something has to be done when it comes to political parties and funding, when it comes to the disclosure policy. But also, I think there should be either companies and individuals that should not contribute to political parties. I don't know what you guys are saying. For me, it's like there's other individuals that have got so much impact on the fiscus of the country that they should not even be part of politics, contribute to political parties, donate in any way, shape, or form. That is my thoughts. It's crazy. This 30 years has taken a lot of from us as Africans. It has taken a lot, and I can see when I speak with other people, like, I'm Africa. Like I always say, some of you, that you don't even have the fight anymore in you. You don't even want to fight anymore. You just want peace. Some of you are even saying, King, okay, it's fine. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Let them keep the land. Can they at least give us good jobs? Can the killing stop? Can the rape stop? Can the murder stop? Can the kidnapping stop? Can the human trafficking stop? You know, some of you are just, it's been 30 years. It's been 30 years, King. We are tired now. Because I'm a graduate, can I get a job? At most, can I get a job? I'm a qualified doctor. What am I doing at home? You know, and I understand my African people. That is why Pan-Africanism will always be the answer. The minerals underneath our ground that God has blessed us, Africa, our Buka land, God has blessed us with minerals that all our problems can be solved only if we unite. Only if Africans can unite. You know, just imagine if we had this island type of mentality. If South Africa says, no, we are not working with other African countries, we're getting about 1.227 billion, what do they call it, megawatts of water from Lesotho. Actually, Gauteng people are using water from Lesotho. That is the country, that is the province that uses the most of the water that comes from Lesotho, because Gauteng is our most populated province. Just imagine Lesotho decides, no, they no longer, we don't have the dams or whatever to supply for this need. We don't. You understand? That is why Pan-Africanism is the answer, my African people. I like how Floyd Shivambu carries himself, man. And you know, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, I just consider him as the best politician in South Africa. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is just one of a kind. He's just one of a kind. We are blessed to be alive, to witness the life of Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I'm telling you right now, Ndlozi, icon. That's a man and a half. That's a man and a half. I'm excited to see how he's going to grow into the structures of the EFF, and eventually how he's going to grow into becoming a man, because he's also still young. And you know, I want to see him in his late 40s. I want to see him in his mid 40s, in his early 50s. Hopefully, still part of the political parties or structures somewhere, somehow. And I think even outside politics, with his lectures, his knowledge, his charisma, and everything, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is just one of the best politician we have in South Africa. So yes, guys, yeah, let me just go and rest early today. Until we meet next time, don't forget to pray. After you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.
Black Heart, the hustle continua. 100% good quality t-shirts, made to inspire your goals and dreams. T-shirts are now available at an affordable price. Place your order now. 068-473-6908. Instagram at Black7576. Facebook page Black Heart.